Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. We'll get straight into it with testing the mute button. So, sounds, while great, can be a little bit annoying. So I added a button so players can choose whether they want to hear or not. So it has been a while since I worked in the game. I found that the game right now is not very fun to play, so I'll be adding some features, hopefully improving the gameplay a little bit, and by the end of this episode have a demo up and running. So what I'm doing right now is just making cover art for the game. I'm just going to put some units, put some buildings, and take a screenshot of it, put it through some filters and some image editor, and hopefully get a nice looking cover art. Okay, that looks good. We're going to expand it, mess around the size a little bit, add a vignette on it, put some contrasting colors, and up the saturation, and that looks just fine. Next up, we're going to be putting it into the game. We have our title screen now. It looks a little bit empty. That's completely fine. We're going to add a sprite in there. We're going to put the cover art in the sprite, mess around with the orientation a little bit. Looks like the offset is wrong, so let me fix that real quick. Okay, that looks good. We're going to mess with the ordering to make sure it stays in the back, behind all the other elements, and let's give it a test. Looks like it's working well. Okay, next up, we're going to be adding a mute button to the title screen. Same as before. Since we already did the code for it, we're just going to be copying all the code over. Basically how it works is it has a on button, off button state, and it keeps it tracked inside a Boolean variable. And there's a function that, depending on whether the state is true or false, it will either play the music or stop the music and change the button accordingly, while also updating the state variable. Okay, let's test it out. There seems to be a little bit of an error. Looks like we forgot to rename the audio. Okay, and looks like it works. Perfect. Okay, so next up we'll be making an exit button. So the only way to exit the game right now is to close out the window itself. But once you're in the game, there's no way to get out of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bind the escape key to go back to the main menu, and from there you can exit out the game. Perfect, looks like it works. Next up, we'll be exporting the game. So since we're using HTML5, we need to make sure we enable certain configurations in itch.io to make it work, namely the shader cache, otherwise it will not work. But that's enough jargon. Let's test out the final product. Okay, looks like the web version is working. However, due to some gameplay issues as of right now, it will not be public just yet. I'm going to work on improving the gameplay a little bit so it's as fun as possible. But thank you so much for watching and stay tuned for future updates.